me. Everybody get up on the dance floor and go, and go, and go crazy. And go crazy. And go crazy. And go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way for the old go crazy like a dum-dum. Eastside homeboy, where I come from. Dance on the floor till you go numb. No fighting, no hating, no red wrong. City, all the way to the bay, hit the bay, Chevy. Catch a case cause it's beating up your Chevy. Get your moving side to side, getting out sweating. Make it work it, work it, work it out. Turn the volume up loud. It's a dry crowd, make it all shout. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Hit play on the track and I'm ready. Like a quarterback, Tom Brady. Get you all in the friends. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy.
The buzz from the club up. They tear the rugs up. Soon as we turn the subs up. Everybody heads high like a drug bust. Yeah, I'm from the west. Only don't see the dubs up. Baptize him on the spot, fill the tubs up. I grab knives with the box, tell him fill his cups up. Jodo, original, the top is proto. I go, crazy, crazy, yeah, loco, it's solo. The coach, you know, I represent the Ocho. Immersing together, put the devil in the choco. Either I leave him on the mat flat out, I sleep until he black out, and when they see him tap out, they go crazy. Go crazy. Go crazy. Go crazy. All the way from the go
That did it for you. That was what you needed. Oh man, I ain't mad. When the spirit moves you, it just moves you. What's going on, Scoop Nation? It is 8:04 and it is time to get this show started. We are so glad that you have decided to come and first of all, celebrate with us on this Tuesday. Okay, we're going to talk about why we're celebrating as if we don't already know here in just a second. But I'm just so glad that we can come on together, come on in this room on this Tuesday on one accord. So thank you so much for tuning in with us. If you are new here, go on, get comfortable, y'all. We keep it real casual around here, real conversational. So get ready. We ask that you please drop where you are tuning in from in our comment section. Hey, Tanisha, good to see you, sweetie. Please drop in where you are tuning in from. Go ahead and hit that share button. Let your people know where you plan to hang out for the next little bit and hang out with your people. Aside from that, we implore you to check us out on all of the social media networks. You can do that on YouTube by following us at The Scoop Show. You can follow us on Facebook at Real Scoop Show. And you can also follow us on Instagram at Scoop Radio Show. So go on, lock us in everywhere that you like it and loving things these days, because we want to see you there as well. If you follow us in multiple places, you know the conversation often gets remixed depending upon where you are tuning in from. So please make sure that you are completely locked in with The Scoop. Aside from that, sit back, relax, pull up. It's 4:20, so I'm just gonna say that. Do whatever it is that you do today. And please enjoy tonight's show. With that, let's get on into it. How are you, bro?
I'm good. I am really good.
We got a lot to talk about tonight, so I'm good. I just got to say, like I didn't say it last week, but your pictures in the background is fire.
Thank you.
I like that picture. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I'm good. I'm glad to be here. Glad we got this topic. Glad today is today. So yeah. So how are you?
I am doing well today. It has been a busy day. Got a lot going on at the full time. So I'm going straight to bed. Like 10:10, I will be night. So that's
like, good night.
Yep. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you. Good night. That's exactly how it's gonna be. Got my towel laid out, ready to hop in that shower real quick.
I understand. Ain't no whole lot of after show talking tonight.
No. We'll have to do that in the morning.
Not today.
Not tonight.
Got you. That was for me, y'all. Don't be after the show. Talk about.
You can type away. I'm going to bed tonight.
It's gonna be on read.
No.
I hear you. I got you.
Okay.
I got you. All right, we got before we jump into these hot topics. Of course, y'all. Let's get right to it. So today we saw a verdict handed down on the case of the state versus former officer Derek Chauvin. And so that came down today. And so if you did not hear, Derek Chauvin was convicted on all 3 counts of murder for the murder of George Floyd. So it was announced today. So he was convicted of 2nd and 3rd degree murder and 2nd degree manslaughter. So then right after that, his bail was revoked and he was taken into custody immediately. So they set the sentencing for 8 years, but the top charge in this is 40 years. He can get up to maximum of 40 years. The second one is 25. Then the third, which is 2nd degree manslaughter, gets 10 years. So 45, 65. Yeah. So it's a total of max sentence of 75 years that he could be facing if he is convicted and given the highest sentence on all 3. So, of course, y'all tell me what y'all, of course, in the comments, tell us what your thoughts are across in the internet. So, I mean, we're hearing a lot. I'm seeing, people are celebrating. People are saying that this is not justice. This is accountability. I'm seeing that that we shouldn't be celebrating until sentencing. So I'm interested to hear in what you as our viewers are thinking and feeling. So go ahead and type that in the comments. And then, of course, Q, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so I can feel where people are saying this is accountability happening, because there's definitely a feeling of that. I can agree with that. This is definitely finally some level of accountability being taken. When I heard the news, that's really, aside from just being like, I think that's one of the collective comments that I've seen, is that we were all holding a breath that we did not know we were holding. And when we heard that, it was a collective exhale that was kind of felt. And the next thing I felt was finally, like, that was my post. Yeah. Guilty ×3, finally. You know what I mean? So it's because that is, we were all like, because it's what we do, there was some hope out there, like maybe just maybe this time it'll be enough. But I really don't believe that many of us honestly felt that it was going to be a guilty verdict across the board. We were going to see that man taken out in cuffs, and that there could be a possibility of what looks like what justice has been told is supposed to look like all this time. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy for this individual situation, but again, that is just a tick against so much. So much.
Yeah. My first thought was similar to yours, like, wow, finally. I think then after I thought about it, I said, it's a shame that in a case that should have been very an easy conviction,
Yeah.
we're at a place, where we really still didn't know.
Mhm.
I mean, it's on video.
Mhm.
Watch the entire thing and still to have to wonder if this was excessive force.
Mhm.
So to me felt like, okay, I hope, I'm sure there's, not a complete sense of relief for his family because he's gone.
Yeah.
But I hope they felt there was something that took this moment as a good moment. But to just think as a country how far we have strayed, it has to be on video, it has to be that heinous, it has to be that many people,
Yeah.
and we're still going, are they going to convict him?
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, if this country, hasn't figured out why that's a problem, then that's a problem.
Mhm.
This is the state of where we are as a people, where we really don't expect any justice or any accountability. I'll use that word for killing Black people, and that's a problem. We didn't expect it. So I'm again, like you said, this is a start.
Mhm.
It's a start because hell, yesterday, the day before yesterday, we got another one. So it's like,
Mhm.
now we got to start all over again.
Yeah.
And is she gonna get convicted? And then last we had, the young man in South Carolina who, so we got this like,
Yeah. Is this enough to set the precedent that keeps us alive? That can begin to keep us alive?
yeah.
How much precedent needs to be set?
And
Why did it, how much, because it took all of this.
or what is
Like Candace said, on video. We watched it.
Yeah, my concern. I was in a discussion, and what came out was flat out, until, and I'm not saying I agree with this, but several people made the comment, until it turns into a situation where they know it's going to be eye for an eye, it's not going to end. And I'm like, that's, unfortunately, that's the place that we are. And I wish that this country would realize that when I say this country, I mean those who are who have systematic control to say, listen, we're wrong and we need to do something different.
Mhm.
But we'll see. So yeah, we'll definitely see. Because
stay vigilant. Just keep watching. Because
yeah,
sentencing has to happen also.
yeah, and they've got. I mean, they can also, appeals and things like that. I think he said like,
because there's going to be an appeal. There's going to be an appeal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's going to be an appeal. So yeah, we got work to do. I just kept thinking, man, I want my people to take care of ourselves, because this is a moment, but I want us to take care of ourselves, because we still have to be vigilant. We still have to be careful. We still have to watch our backs. We still have to, again, like I said, we had one earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll take this win today, though.
And that's the thing about that. Like, you can't even enjoy the win. Like, I can't even enjoy this moment too good, because now
you gotta see the dark side of it. It's like,
yeah. Like, okay. Oh, now let's go to the next one. All right. So, all right. So let's jump into these hot topics.
And they are hot.
Yeah, they are. Of course, hot topics are brought to you by Bob Shamrock gas station in Oklahoma City at 2901 Northwest 10th Street in OKC, where our favorite co-host. Kels is the owner at Bob Shamrock. As they say, you can pull up and fill up your gas tank and fill up your stomach. They've got great service, and again, you could get your gas. So go ahead and go to, if you're in Oklahoma City, support Bob Shamrock at 2901 Northwest 10th Street. We're across from the fairgrounds. It's the green building. So go over there and holler at them at Bob Shamrock. All right. Yeah, Shawnee, you're right. It is very bitter.
Yeah.
Bittersweet. That is absolutely accurate. All right. Hot topics. Let's go. Yeah, we started with this. Okay, here we go. All right. So, young lady sends, I'm assuming her boyfriend. She says, "Hey, can I borrow?"
It's a baby daddy.
Baby daddy. Okay, thank you. Hey, can I borrow $100? Thank you. You're right. It is. Hey, can I borrow $100? I had to get my brakes fixed, so I'm low until next Friday. He responds, "What you need the $100 for?" She said, "Food for me in heaven. I was going to get groceries." He says, "I'll get back to you." Side eye emoji. He says, "Hey, are you home?" She says, "No, why?" He sends the picture of the food. She then says, "What is that?" He says, "It's groceries. I had it delivered to you. I got you food in heaven. You said that you needed tissue. You don't have to pay me back." She said, "I'm not even home. I won't be until late tonight. The food will spoil. You could have just given me the $100 like I asked," shaking my head. He said, "I just text heaven. She said, you're on a date. How you going to ask me for money, but you're going out on dates? I'll go get the food and drop it off at your mom's house then. Don't ask me for anything else." She said, "I asked to borrow the money, not have. Me being on a date has nothing to do with what I'm asking for. We are good. We don't need the groceries. You can keep it." He then says, ding, ding, ding. I asked to borrow money, not have it. She says, I'll just go to court and see if I can get an increase on support. You make more than me, and I have heaven 5 days a week. It's like pulling teeth when I ask for help. He says, LOL. Okay, Heather. I don't care what you do. The threats don't scare me. Good luck with that. Thumbs up emoji. Go for
it. Woo, child. Okay. So to me, first of all, this. All right. So I think their communication is trash more than anything. There was a lot of between the lines happening with both of them. She knew that Heather knew that she could not ask him for anything if it was not related to the care of that child, regardless of what she needed it for. She knew if she needed to ask him, it needed to be about the child. So when she stated groceries, he then took it upon himself, which I'm honestly not mad at, because had she needed groceries, like she said, this would have been a really dope thing of him to do, especially when he said, you don't have to pay me back. Gold star for baby daddy. The fact that she manipulated him. She lied. If she did not need the money for groceries, and she did need it for something else, which obviously that became very apparent in how she responded to the groceries showing up, like being delivered. So obviously it was not groceries. So let's just be real. She did not need groceries. She needed the money for something else. So she manipulated him and it backfired. So she can be frustrated at that. And yeah, she asked to borrow it, not have. So, there's a lot to be said. Everyone's whole way of borrowing money is different. If you ask me to borrow money, I can be honest. Sometimes it depends on who you are. I may or may not ask what it's for. Some people, I'm just gonna say, if I'm gonna give you the money, take the money. I really don't care what it's for. It's yours now because you're giving it back to me as a borrow, whatever. That was not the situation with Heather and Homie. Okay. He needed a reason. You know what I mean? And with their relationship, I could see why. Sis lost me with I'm going to the courts though. Like she did too much when she said we're gonna up the support and all that. Like being pissed is being pissed. Like this was no different than an average baby daddy, baby mama conversation that did not go the way somebody expected it to. She lost me when she decided to go the child support way and all that old extra yada yippee yap. I would have done the okay, Heather, just like he did. Like at that point, all right, I'm out. On that note, I'm going in this conversation. We'll see you next time. So yeah, this everybody is all over the place. Oh, and keep the babies out of the mess. He lost me by getting Heaven involved. And I would be telling Heaven what don't. I don't think we should have involved Heaven. And the fact, if he wanted to know about groceries, tell him what you needed as far as groceries is concerned. But there was no reason for you to let him know I was on a date. There's no reason for that. You don't have to go all deep into the adult conversations and the reasons why. But me and your daddy aren't a couple. So when I'm going and doing what I do, as long as you're safe and good, there's no reason for him to know where I'm at. You aren't in danger. You safe. He ain't needing to come get you. I don't know where Mom is. I'm at Nana's. Mama's being an adult. You know what I mean? Don't have the baby say that to the daddy, but I mean that essentially needs to be the baseline of that type of conversation. And you should be able to set that standard with your children. Yeah. So Kendall said, I wish a baby daddy would drop off some food.
So, yeah. So listen, I'm gonna say this. I wish. Well, here, let's go ahead and do these. Candace says, she said, groceries being delivered is a blessing. Listen, I was gonna say that too. Instacart has saved me more than once. Let me say, I haven't been. I've lived in Grand Rapids for almost a year now. I don't think I've been to a grocery store more than twice. So
Instagram, look away. It's like, did you hear that? Yeah.
Instacart is a miracle worker. So I can't even front about that. So yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a blessing. Saves my life quite a bit. I wish a baby daddy would drive. Listen, I hear you. I don't think my ex-wife would mind if I had groceries sent to her house either. I think she'd be like, if she really needed groceries. That's the kicker to this. I don't think if she really needed them, didn't need them. She would send the food. She'd be like, thank you. Like, I might. Shut up. Anyway, I might be happy. I'm gonna say that. All right. Might get a thank you. Anyway, I digress. Candace said, she was talking about court. He got you what you said you needed. It's clear there's no trust between the two of them. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Instacart is godly. Absolutely. So my thoughts are pretty similar to yours. The only thing I would say is I do think that the daughter shouldn't have said where she was, because clearly the daughter is old enough to have a cell phone. Mm-hmm. So she's a little older. So yeah, but I'm sure if I've had this happen, it's just a conversation. Where's your mom at? Oh, she out with such and such. Oh, okay, cool. You just keep going. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure she probably wasn't. But yeah, you probably need to tighten it up. Like, hey. Yeah. And I'm not saying fuss at the baby. Yeah, I don't think she shouldn't be in trouble. But she should have an understanding. She needs to know that's not how this is going. That's not going to work for us. Yeah. And he needs to also understand. That's not fair to ask her that question. Yeah, that's not fair to ask the daughter that question. Just like if the reverse were true, that's not fair. That wouldn't be fair for the mom to ask, "Where's your dad? Who's your dad hanging out with?" My son be quick to tell my business. I'd be like, "Hey, shut up, Jesus Christ!" Yeah. Jesus Lord, I'd be like, hey, we go for my dad. Yeah, so those definitely, I'd be like, son, hush. So yeah, so you gotta do that. I do think that as a I think she was deceptive. And I think this is what happens when you try to deceive. Don't deceive people. Just say what you want up front. Just say, hey, can I borrow $100? You could have, that's all you had to say. When you got into the other stuff, now it becomes deceptive. Now, again, like Candace said, now I don't trust you, you don't trust me. And it just looks bad. Third, I hate this. I hate the idea of threatening somebody with child support.
Yeah.
I think what people have to understand is to I ain't gonna say to all, because that would be an absolute lie, but to a good chunk of men, child support is not something that they are afraid of. To some people, child support is like it's just a part of our situation. Mm-hmm. So, but it also deteriorates what should be happening. Even in a co-parenting situation, there should be a level of trust and care and honor that you have for one another, even if you are in a co-parenting. Again, I know that don't happen all the time,
right?
But I know it doesn't happen all the time, even in good situations where people co-parent well. But that should be the goal that we're trying to get to.
Yep.
Says the co-parent. So yeah, that's what I think. I think don't let this, just say, hey, and don't send it while you on a date. Like,
no, he put her off. He delayed responding to her. Remember, that was the side eye. He said, I'll get back to you. So she went on about her business. We didn't see times on there. So like, I'm hoping she wasn't trying to get $100 sent while she was out on the date. Because he did put her on hold. Like he held long enough to order groceries, get them delivered, find out she wasn't there, all that old other stuff. So there was some time that lapsed there that could have been her, moving on with the rest of the day. So, but
I'm saying she wasn't on lunch break. And then, I'm saying now if she was on lunch break and she sent it, and then it's Friday night, she out. That's one thing. But I'm saying, like, don't be getting ready for the date, send a text message. It's like you got to space it out a little better than that.
Not really, because the one don't have nothing to do with the other. Just because I'm dating a dude does not mean I'm obligated to ask him for $100. Like, so are we trying to create holes out here? You know what I mean? Like, so what are we saying by that? The dude I'm on a date with has nothing to do with my need of $100 right now.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it does. I'm saying that if you're going to ask and use that as a reason why you need it, and y'all gonna have conversation about it, then make your lie work is all I'm saying. Make the lie work for you. You got to lie good if you're gonna lie, is all I'm saying.
Okay.
Lie good.
One don't have nothing to do with the other, but okay. We're gonna move on to the next topic.
I'm just saying lie good. I just want people to lie good.
She was lying fine until little mama got involved. She was just fine until little mama got involved.
That's why you gotta lie good, because your slip is showing. You ain't tighten up little heaven, and you're on the date. You can't have both slipping. You gotta have one or the other. So that way you can like
Winfred.
All right, here we go. Pick your partners. It's Kryptonite. Says pick your partners wisely. Dre posted this one. My brother passed 3 years ago. His girlfriend at the time still calls my mom every day. Doesn't miss anything my family celebrates. Always there whenever anyone needs her. She's literally still honoring him as if he was alive, and that is so rare. Thoughts?
I think this is beautiful, honestly. I think this is showing that prior to the death of their loved one, they had a very good relationship. It was a healthy relationship. And somewhere along the way, they bonded as humans. And their grief has kept them communicating and loving on each other. Nowhere in this did she say she's not dating anybody else. This hasn't moved on with her life and is living a good life. She's simply saying, She calls, she checks in, she shows up, she's present for us also. And I think that's kind of dope. Yeah. Now, if it was to say that she's still, wearing engagement rings and she's still speaking about, like if she has not emotionally, mentally moved on, like if she's stuck in this grief and this is helping her stay attached, that's something else. But I honestly didn't get that from this. Like I didn't get that from this.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But my mind, like I chased the rabbit hole on this one.
Okay.
Because I thought like, okay, this is cool. But like 3 years later, coming to family barbecues, 3 years later, like coming to like, it's one thing to call, but like coming to graduation parties, to me, it's like, again, I think it's cool that you still honor him, but to me, I felt like, has she moved on? Has she really, decided, again, honor is great. That's my thing, honor, but I don't know. Like I said, again, obviously there's not enough context for me, but my rabbit hole chasing self went all the way down. Like, is she bringing the ex-boyfriend, and is that healthy? Even if she has moved on, like, is there some type of attachment thing that's happening? What I really thought about was that one last week. I thought back to last week's I'm crying because I'm missing my ex-boyfriend.
Oh Lord. Oh,
like, you know what I mean? Like, so in my mind, I'm like,
yeah.
ooh, does this get you to that? Like, where are you released enough to where you can move on? Again, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think that it's to honor. I think, any relationship that you've had in the past, you should absolutely honor it. But I don't know.
I also want to know how long they've been together prior to this, because that, listen, y'all, we know how our families blend. Okay. It's sometimes you done got divorced, got a whole new family going on, and you still look at folks sitting on the couch at Christmas, Thanksgiving, yada, yada, because that's my baby. And that's my, and we talk about those things, but a lot of families say, hey, that just is how we roll. That just is what it is. And that relationship is dead. You still have those ties, though. You know what I'm saying? And for all intents and purpose, there may not even, I've seen this happen when there are no children involved. Simply, these are my folks, and I'm gonna fool with my folks because we don't hate each other. We cool, so we just gonna do our thing. So every relationship is a little bit different, but I think there's a lot that, like you said, there's a lot of context that's missing from this scenario, because how long they were together also matters, which could play into the graduation parties and what happened during that time they were together that brought them together that way. You know what I mean? As a unit. So we've seen some families get all kinds of deep, real fast.
Yep. Absolutely. And and again, like I said, we don't know how it happened. I mean, I've seen some situations where people have taken 4 or 5 years, to move to even want to date again after something like that, and still, like you said, still talking to family, still all of that stuff. So it depends, especially after a sudden death. And so I don't think that's unnormal. I just think that I would be real careful. Again, at some point, like, you got to start pulling back. At some point, you have to really create healthy boundaries. Because every brother, every sister is not going to come into this relationship thinking that this is okay. So how do you process that if you get with somebody and then all of a sudden he or she, in this instance, he's like, hey, why are you still going over there? Well, this is my, so it does, it's like,
yeah.
Okay.
If it's stopping the moving on part of life, then yeah. But I don't think, I don't know.
But it doesn't give us that. I just, rabbit hole. Rabbit hole. That's
he died, though. If they broke up, they would tell her to find something else. Sometimes, but there's a few of them family members that hold on. If that's my girl, that's my girl. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, and especially if your brother is sometimes a little shady, I have seen some sisters ride hard for the ex-girlfriends if the brother is trash. So that is so sometimes, or even if it just didn't work out and I like her, everybody move on, do your thing. I won't bring her around a new chick, but that's my girl. So, sometimes, families are weird. Families are weird. How we love and show it and do our things is weird sometimes. It don't always make sense. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I ain't doing all of that.
Right.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I might call you on Mother's Day. I'm gonna
hit them pages, but I'm gonna move right on along. I'm gonna
send a text. Yeah, that's what I would do. Like send a text. Hey, thinking about you. Hope everything's going well.
Mm-hmm. I told my mother-in-law that too. I know we got to move on, but I told her that too because this is something that happens in my family all the time. We are an extremely blended family. So there are times where you could have all kinds of folks showing up for the dinners and the thing and hanging out, like not just hey, how y'all doing? Just want to say hey, popping in. No, like hanging out, having meals, drinking, having the conversations and the videos, taking the pictures. And I remember one time me and my mother-in-law I was like, your girl ain't built like that, right? You'll catch me popping in on the Wednesday to sit and have a drink with you. A random Wednesday when it's just me and you, we chit chat and keep it moving. But you will not have me sitting up here with the new boo, the old boo, the potential boos, all the fact. No,
yeah. I ain't done. I'll say in my family we do that for like major events. We'll do that for like Trey's birthday last year. Like we'll have my mom, my mom, my stepmother, my father, we'll have everybody there for that. Mm-hmm. But even that sometimes is a little weird. My mom would stay over there, my dad be over there. They walk past each other like two ships in the night. It was done up. I used to sleep together for 17 years. Stop. It's like, come on. But even that is weird. But yeah, it's like that. So. Mm-hmm. All right, game night. This is the game night. This is the right one.
Ooh, child, game night.
Yeah, I'm called game night. All right. So my husband and I were at a friend's house for game night when he drew the question, if you were trapped on an island with one woman of the opposite sex, who would it be and why? His answer was my friend, because I admire the way she listens to her husband and stays calm in every situation. So it's easy for him to have peace in his life. My answer is not about sex, but peace. Before I knew it, I jumped over the table on him. Everyone had to pull me off of him. He was so embarrassed and disgusted. He got his jacket, looked at me and shook his head, and then left. Later that night, my friend, the one he named, and her husband called me and told me I was wrong. Do you think I was wrong for my reaction?
I mean, so listen. I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say no. Violence, you know what? No. I don't believe that assault is always wrong. Damn that, okay? Sometimes you got to take that L. She didn't hurt him. He ain't died. He ain't in the hospital. He took a couple lumps and they'll be all right. They moved a little bit of furniture. I would have cashed app sis for whatever I broke on the day after, and we would have went on about our business. But you cannot sit across from me at game night and tell me that my bestie is the chick that you would choose to go and live a peaceful, happy island life with. And I'm just going to be like, oh, okay. Boy, is you crazy? No, I'm not going to do that. I cannot guarantee that I'm going to leap across the furniture, but honey, I am showing out. I'm going to make a believer. You damn right. I'm going to make a believer out of you. Ain't going to be no peace in here, over there, in the driveway, at the house, on the phone, en route tomorrow. You will not have no more peace. Ain't going to be no more peace for you. It's a wrap for you. You, him, her, anybody else that agrees with you, all of y'all. Kiss what I twist, and I don't mean my wrist, okay? In the words of Miss Marissa Turner. Y'all got me messed up. You got me messed up. So no. And he was done. I'm going to say he was done too. He didn't expect this to go any better than it did. I cannot believe he expected it to go any better than it did.
I absolutely agree with that. I think, well, first of all, let me say, You remember we had the conversation a couple weeks ago about correcting your spouse in public.
Yep.
I thought, see, this is where correcting or saying being honest in public goes wrong.
Yeah, this is not what we said do. This is not what we said it was okay.
Yeah, I was like, I can foresee somebody going, but we said we can, and we can, but there's a way to say it. And we also said there were certain things that you should not say.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that your best friend's wife provides a space of peace for him, implying that your wife does not provide a space of peace for you,
does not create space.
When I read that, I said, "Oh, he wanted a divorce. He was ready for a divorce, and this was his opportunity." He just had one of the most. I was thinking, I hope he was drunk. Like maybe he was drunk, and he could be like, I was just talking. You know what I mean? But in my mind, I'm thinking he wants a divorce. He don't want to be married anymore because that's not going to go. That wasn't. He could not have thought that this was going to turn out good. And I'm wondering. What is his boy doing?
Yeah, the husband. He's okay with this?
If I'm sitting across from Terry and I say this, Terry got to be looking at me like,
right.
Hey, anyway, next question. Yeah, save me. You don't have me sitting there. And I was like, oh, this ain't gonna work. The more I kept
she was the call they decided to make tonight. She was the call that they decided to make. Like she blew up game night. Like it was her actions that blew up game night.
All I know is, I mean, they should have called both of them. I think that he was looking for a way out, and he just got it.
And I'm gonna say, like I said on the point, you call me tomorrow. Don't call me tonight. Don't call me tonight. If you give me tonight, I'll probably call you and apologize because I'm gonna be embarrassed because I showed my ass and that's not what I do. You know what I mean? I done messed up your little furniture and I done, now I got my little situation happening, but don't call me tonight to tell me that I was wrong for being blindsided and put out there like that by my husband and now my bestie and her man.
And her.
Girl, if you don't get off this phone,
the only way I could see this is if this had been a conversation that had been had several times. I'm looking for maybe they've had this conversation 4 or 5 times, and so this should not have been something new. But without that context, I'm like, yeah,
him and her had the conversation before?
Him and her had the conversation.
I don't want you to say that game night.
Well, I'm saying if their relationships are close enough where this is a conversation them as a group have had, and it's a joke she gets, and they understand that's just her personality. And so then outside of that context, I'm like, I want to help you, brother, but I just in my mind just see that just ain't smart. You don't blindside her, and even if so, and another thought I said, if they don't get divorced, I hope you don't think you're about to get any in it for a while, because it's about to be no peace. You ain't getting no food. You ain't getting nothing. You about to get the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
And that's it for a good minute, partner. So the marriage counselor in me was like, they need to come in and talk real soon, because if not, we're going to be divorced.
I think they need to end this. This doesn't sound like it's helpable. This doesn't. I'm not a marriage counselor, but I don't know if this is helpable, because this is a lack of care. You know what I mean? This is a lack of care happening on both ends, because if it's that bad for him to feel okay, to be emboldened enough to honestly, and he knew he was going to embarrass her, because we're going to assume from her action that they are not all cool like this. This is not an understanding. This is not a running joke, a hee hee ha ha, that whole girl's crazy. That's not what this is. So there's obviously some situations that there's some cause and reaction happening here that made him feel that way. I can't just assume because I'm taking her side in the main situation that's presented that sis is always right and he's just this a-hole that's just doing the most. So there was something that could have happened that has provoked this type of behavior in him as well. So they're lacking a serious understanding of what it is to support, to be there, to fight with instead of fight at. You know what I mean? So like there's got to be a stripping of a lot of stuff to get to resolution.
I saw someone who did not have good conflict resolution skill. I'm like, because he should have been able to say what he wanted or needed. And she should have been able to, outside of this context. But again, you do not blindside your partner like this. You blindside your partner like this, male or female.
Yep.
This is what you get.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get. And your best hope is that they're going, and he got what he got in this situation. So you cannot blindside somebody. You can't embarrass somebody publicly. You can't shame them publicly and then not expect them to give you a defensive response. It's just the nature of how humans are. And guess what? It's okay. If you blindside me, I might forget. I might, I have to take
violence.
I'm going to take the listen. I don't.
I think Katasha,
the blood. I don't know.
I think I saw it on Katasha's page. She posted, as long as Rihanna is an option, you better not say my best friend across the table. Like, yes, I'm gonna show out. As long as Rihanna is an option in any scenario, you better not choose somebody we can reach out and touch. Like, if all of these celebrities and build the chicks and build the dudes out here, man, woman, do not say that you're gonna reach out and touch. Don't you do it. That's just not smart in any scenario. I don't care how truthful it is. Lie to me. Okay. In this situation, lie to me.
Yes. Absolutely. And vice versa. I wish you would tell. I mean, I thought of, like, if it was reversed and I'd rather go with Terry because he treated us well. I'm like,
right.
I'm whooping you and Terry. Like, I can fight Terry. Like, what you mean? You supposed to be like, hey, me and you don't get down. Like, y'all got something going on that y'all need to tell me about. Like, it's just not going to go well. So that's probably not wise. Speaking of counseling, and I didn't plan this like this.
Talk about a segue.
Right. Rashid asked a very good question. He says, men, why are you allergic to counseling? Women, why are you thirsty for counseling? My answer for men, because we're usually not heard or understood, and the counselor usually turns into an amen corner for her, which further reinforces what I feel, which is how I feel doesn't matter since I'm a man. My answer for women, because doesn't listen, or because I'm guessing he, your man, doesn't listen or hear my concerns. So maybe if he heard someone besides me telling him the same thing I've been telling him, he would listen. Maybe then he would realize he's standing in the way of bettering himself in our relationship. My conclusion, neither one is truly going to benefit from counseling unless they both go in with the readiness to accept their faults and their opportunities for growth. Disclaimer, getting counseling doesn't always mean something is wrong with you. It can also help to keep you on the right track too.
So I agree with both scenarios for men and women. We have talked about this at length over all of our platforms, way back from MOT to now. We have that's a throwback for some of y'all who don't know about that, but we've been hanging with each other for a very long time. So
2011.
Yeah. So this is a conversation that we have discussed, and honestly, these are the baselines of why we have issues with counseling. And I also agree with the conclusion that if both people do not go into a situation expecting to be called out and confirmed at the same time, because both things happen in counseling, you know what I mean, then you're going to be upset at your results. I also think that before a couple chooses to do counseling, I think you should be in some type of individual counseling first. That will prepare you. You need to start seeing you before you get in trying to show someone us, because you have to understand how you process things as an individual. And a lot of the times I think that can start to highlight why you're having issues working with other people. A lot of the time, some of the stuff that we've got going on in us as individuals blocks all of our relationships. It's just because our romantic relationship takes up so much of our headspace. That's the one that we focus on. And we don't really recognize that our flaws, our issues, our stuff blocks the way that we work with everyone that we interact with. Mm-hmm. And until someone can show you that when it's just you and them and you don't have anyone to say, but do you remember when, but you don't, but if you didn't do that, I wouldn't have ever. You need somebody to show you that, no, that was all you, sis, or bruh. Like, do you see how you was? Did you see how that didn't really, like, you know what I mean? And then, because like, what do they benefit other than you getting better by showing you that? So that's a mindset shift too. You can't expect to shift your relationship with an audience until you've been vulnerable enough just with you to say, okay, I do got some stuff to work on. That puts you in a different space to even get in another room with someone that you have an issue with, potentially your spouse, and someone you have no prior relationship with, your counselor. That's when you're ready. When you can come in there, stripped down, vulnerable, without all of your stuff, and say, okay, yep, we got some stuff. Let's fix it. Show me. You know what I mean? And that's when you can both benefit from it. But if y'all just have a big blow up on Saturday and then on Tuesday you sitting on somebody's couch, don't expect by next Tuesday y'all gonna be skipping in the daisies. That's not how that's gonna work, because if you going straight from conflict to this immediate ready, that's I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, it depends on the situation too. Yeah, So one of the things that I'm learning is that I think you're correct that individual counseling is definitely necessary. But one of the things I'm learning is that sometimes, like, it's better to have the couple's conversation, or at least introduction, and then let's move into, like, okay, we're going to take some time to have this couple's conversation, but first I need to work with you as an individual. What I found out, what I'm learning is there are a lot of situations where when a person says they want to go by themselves, the other person feels like it's alienating them from some part of, whether it's intimacy or just knowing what's going on, or like there's some secrets or something. And so, you have to kind of bring them in. Hey, listen, this is what we're going to talk about. Because like you said, there's some personal things that, like you said, let me get him together. Let me get her together, or y'all by yourselves, and then we can bring it back together. So I do think that's very valuable. I think the bigger thing is, a lot of times first we wait until stuff is screwed up before we go. And so now, like, the work of a counselor really is not to fix your relationship.
Yeah.
Really, the work of the counselor is to help you self-discover what's already, like, what you already know, and kind of help you just bring it in. It's like, okay, we know we have all of these puzzle pieces here. My job is to help you put it back together. Like, I'm not here to put you back together. I'm here to help you put you back together. And so, just like with any type of counseling or therapy, it's hard, it's painful, it's a lot of trial and error, a lot of things that aren't going to work. It's going to be a lot of stuff that's said that's harmful. So if you're not prepared to do that work, then it's going to be difficult. And let's be clear, because y'all know, you've heard my first counseling stories. My first story when I went to counseling, it was absolutely what he said in the post. It was, everything was my fault. I was terrible. I was this, I was that. And what angered me was, we had a one-on-one conversation before, and it was, everything was cool. Yeah. And so now you're going, like in this last one, you're going to get me in front of your wife and my wife, and now you want to try to talk to me like I'm somebody else. And I was coming over the desk. Yeah. So I completely recognize that. So that says there's got to be a level of professionalism, respect,
Yep.
degreed, people who
All
have
counselors are not
license to do this. Like, you can't just be some, you just because you have pastor in front of your name doesn't mean you need to be doing counseling. Just because you've talked to a couple of couples don't mean, like, you need a skill. Like, this is an actual skill that you need, because again, historically, it's actually in the church. It's actually usually we tell women to put all the brunt on the women, and then in other counseling we put all the brunt on the men. So it's kind of like this thing where nobody wants to go because it's done. So I don't know. I think to me, it should be a maintenance thing, not a we're in trouble thing. Like, we're trying to figure out who we are, where we are. We just need somebody to kind of listen as we talk through this and walk us through, help us guide through this conversation, and then we can. And if it gets to the point where we're in deep trouble, then okay, then we probably need some deeper work. But
yeah, I do. I agree. We have to. I think that's something that we have to start as a community, having this conversation regularly, often.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and like really getting into it, and say, like, because it's still very stigmatized in our community. There are pockets of us who are willing and open and have these conversations and are researching and learning about some of the things that were we gave nicknames and random, we other people, but still covered people under these different umbrellas. And there are certain people, there's groups of us who are willing to have these conversations, but we've got to reach those who still struggle, because we have to admit, these are people that are raising our kids. These are the people who are going to be raising the people that our kids marry and date and interact with. These are going to be the people who are going to teach our children. These are people that are going to, you're going to be working around. So we have to start having the conversation that getting this help is okay as a maintenance. It is not an emergency measure. This is a maintenance measure that everybody, not just rich folks, not just, non-melanated people, like, this is something that all people need, all of us. So,
and last thing, and I'll go, is I think we got to also realize that, like, sometimes counseling really should help us. Like, to me, the root of, like, where we try to go in counseling when we talk is let's deal not so much with the marriage, but let's deal with the trauma. Let's deal with the trauma that happened to you that got you to this point in the marriage or in your life period. Because, like you said, really, I would guarantee that the same issue that you're having with your marriage, you're having in every other issue at the place of your life. So you gotta, like, it's usually a common theme. To the last post, if you can't keep peace in your home, you probably aren't keeping much peace at work. You're probably not keeping much peace in your friendships. You're probably, so there's, or if you are, it's because they're tolerating you, not because they are, they really are engaged with you. So I think we got to just say, like, this is really not, I'm not trying to necessarily fix my relationship. I'm trying to become a better person. I'm trying to learn me better. I'm trying to see how I, how I as a husband, how I as a wife, how I as a man, as a woman, how I come off to people. How do people experience me? Because I want people to experience me a certain way. And if that's not what you're getting, then I need to know that. I need to know that that I come off as a jerk when I don't mean to. So it's reality.
Yep.
It's reality. I had a friend tell me something about myself. I was like,
that was your genuine hurt face too.
I was like, no, this blankety blank didn't say that about me. And then everybody else was like, yeah, he ain't lying. I'll tell you. He said I think I told you. He said I wasn't empathetic. I'm like, me? Not an empathetic person? I am the most empathetic. That's what I said in my mind. And then the other 4 people were like, yeah, man, sometimes you're not empathetic at all. I'm like,
you probably skip empathy and go straight to fix it. Sometimes
Absolutely.
folks just want you to feel with them and you want to fix with them. Mhm.
That's exactly what they said. And I was like,
But to you, that is how you feel. That I love you enough to want to fix this with you. I want to solution it with you. That is one of your love languages. So to know you is to love you. But that's also them loving you enough to say, we love you and we know you and we get this. But other folks gonna have a problem with this. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you're not as good at this as you think.
In that moment, they were having the problem with it.
Yeah,
I was just like, but again, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're not, if to not have someone, to have people walk you through that is it's hard. So that's what I'm saying. That's the beauty of it is I don't know. I wouldn't have known that had they not said it, and B, I had, a counselor to talk to and walk me through that, because I was all kind of like, I was gonna say what I called them some names. I called them some names to their face too. So
that is the same thing about how critical I can be, like how I can break things down and how I'm looking at how, to some people that's like, damn, why you can't just roll with me for a minute? And I'm like, listen, I don't want you wasting your time. I don't want you wasting your money, your energy. I want you to win. And if we can solution it right now before the people got to see us, let's do that. I'm willing to work it with you. Like, let's figure it out. But a lot of folks don't be wanting to hear all that. Like, this is, even if my plan is going to fail, ride with me on this plan. I don't want to fix it right now. Like, we will fail and then we'll fix it. And I'll be like, but why though? Like, why we got to fail first? Like, that's really what that's how I feel.
I'm with you. Absolutely.
I love you enough to want you to win the first time. Why we wait? Life is too short to be messing around failing. Like, why? Like, if we gotta fail, okay, cool, but not because we didn't try to win. Like, that's really how I roll with it. Like, why do we have to?
That's why we get along, because I feel you. Because I'll be like, hey, tell me, and you'd be like, I'm like, well, I ain't thinking about none of that. Thank you. Okay, let me take my plan back home and work on it a little bit. But I didn't think that was like anyway. I digress. We got to get off the couch.
Redirect. Let's come and bring it back.
Rabbit hole. All right. I forgot who posted this one. My dad said, trauma keeps us at the age we experienced it. A lot of people are exactly the same age their hurt came from.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I can agree with this to a certain, myself and others that I know. I can, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have no disagreement on this one.
And let's also say trauma is not always the commercialized ideal of what trauma is. It does not always have to be sexual abuse, physical abuse, some type of abuse. Trauma is something that jars your state of normalcy, your way of being, your comfort, your safety. When you have been traumatized, what you know to be has shifted in a way that you have not had the opportunity to prepare for. That is a traumatic experience. So I think sometimes we disregard people when their trauma doesn't match our own or doesn't get the buzzwords and press that others get. If it doesn't, hit on our radar as trauma, oh, girl, you should need to get over that. I ain't nothing. You know what I mean? Oh, boy, you gotta man up. Those types of things. Not taking into account what the pre-person was, what the experience prior to was. You might not ever know what that person ever looked like again because you're meeting them post-trauma. So the dismissal that you have is really dismissing the core. That's what you're trying to get to. That person that was pre-trauma. You know what I mean? And when we don't recognize that, then we start giving all of the stuff different names and excuses, and we get to avoid being accountable for the work or the love that we need to be given to somebody. You know what I mean? Because trauma, because especially with Black folks, because we have experienced such violence, such graphic, such devastating trauma as a people. It makes it that much easier for us to dismiss the mere human things that we should be able to say, this was wrong. I did not deserve this. This is not right. I need help from this. Someone hold me from this. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's my help? I need someone to save me from this. But everybody, we don't get to be saved. You know what I mean? Like, we, even within our communities, because we got to tough up, we got to move on, we got to survive. We don't allow ourselves to save each other. So yeah, this is real. This is real.
And if everybody is drowning, who's there to save me?
Yeah.
Save somebody.
Yeah.
I literally right before the show, I was having a conversation with a mother who was saying she was concerned about her son.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying how she was frustrated with him because they were in a situation basically, and the police engaged her son, and he's a high school age kid, big guy. And she said, I told him, forget trying to defend yourself, because he was trying to talk back to the police officer, talk back, really wasn't talking back, but telling the police officer like, hey, we're not doing anything. We just, standing here doing da da da. And she said, I just told him that. She was, and I said, what you're saying is I get, but can you think about the trauma that this young man had to endure, first of all, by simply realizing that in this moment, he was being seen as less than human. I said, and on top of this, he's a forming young man. I said, and so now you're asking him also to check his masculinity, because now as a man, he has to humble himself to this person who he's done absolutely nothing. And so she was like, I didn't recognize. I said, so why are you fussing at him? I said, I understand this is Mama Bear fussing because you want him to come home alive. And I absolutely agree with you. I said, but I need you to think about the level of trauma that every time he has to experience this, every time he has to cow tip, every time he has to, go to work and pretend that he likes, I start walking through all these different experiences. What that does to him every time. And she was, I just didn't think. I'm like, again, because this is the level of because you're protected, which is fine. I said, but just think about it. Like, this is something, like you said, that as a people, not just historically, but every single day, our experience is traumatic. It is high stress, because when you leave the house, you don't know what's going to happen. When you go to the job, you got to try to perform for them. When you know what I mean? Like, there's very few spaces where you just, like you said, just get to be. And so I think we have to, as we approach each other, we have to realize like that we're all carrying something. We're all carrying like this, like you said, there's this thing. And even though I might be 41, even though I might be 41, there is an experience in me that gets stuck at the eighth grade level, when they called me whatever and said whatever and did whatever that you, like you said, that you got to work through and process and figure out and still try to manage and not come across as that individual, but still function as the 40-year-old person that you are. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. I think if we honored that better with one another, that we could do a whole lot better.
Even within ourselves, we got to give ourselves the freedom, the right to experience. Like, so much of us, it's just in us to move on. Like, there's so much trauma there's so many experiences that we have that we don't even feel comfortable sharing with others, because we just know nobody got time for me to do. Everybody's got their own things. You know what I mean? Like, we won't create space for ourselves. We won't. Self-care is even still, it's commercialized too. Like, our self-care has to include others. Our self-care has to be pretty. Our self-care has to be shown. It has to be this type of self-care. And sometimes self-care is sitting in the corner and crying. Sometimes self-care is writing it out. Sometimes self-care is turning the phone off. Sometimes self-care is saying, I'm not gonna, and don't do it. You know what I mean? And we've got to be able to say that's okay. We are so obligated to everything else but our own peace. And I think of all folks, we deserve we deserve our corner. Yeah. So yeah, this was a good one. This one made me think, especially with, the the whole therapy conversations and all of that we've been having, and that train of thought. This particular post made me think a lot.
Absolutely. All right, good hot topics, y'all. Hold on.
Yep.
Janae said, I explained this to my neighbor who is a white woman, and she started crying, full meltdown. I said, go get an afro sewed in your hair because your blonde hair is tacky, unprofessional. That's what I face with my natural hair. She said, oh my God, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's been right there in my face and I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. At least she listened.
Right. Kind of took it in a little bit.
I'll do that. All right, no soapbox that. All right. So let's move on real quick before we move into our second half. Of course, for those who don't know by now, I wrote a book called "Surviving Relationship Storms," and the book is about how to. The book is about how do you take the storms, the inevitable storms that you go through in relationships. How do you go through those, and how do you come out better for them? Some of the conversations that need to be had, some of the ways that you prepare your relationship so that when you go through the storm, you can be ready for it. And then some of the things that we as an individual need to kind of what we just talking about, prepare ourselves for as individuals to be good partners. So pick up the book. It's on pre-order right now. Official release date is the 27th of June. But get your pre-order copy now. All pre-orders get free shipping. And then after that, you got to pay for your own shipping. So get it on pre-order now. It is Surviving Relationship Storms.
Yes, sir.
If you, we've been doing this, Firestarter, your Firestarter letter. And I don't know why that's always so hard for me to say. Dear Firestarter letter. Where you can have your letter read on air and get free coaching from the Firestarter. So what we're asking you to do is submit your letter to Firestarter Passion. Firestarter Passion at gmail.com. Send your email to that email address, and in the email include what is your situation, what have you already done with the situation, and how can the Firestarter help you, and what are your questions. So include that in the email, and you could potentially have your letter read and get a coaching session during a Passion Talk segment here on the air.
She also wants you to know that if you submit your letter and you decide that you want to remain anonymous, you do have the ability to do that. So please don't think that you're going to have to put your little picture up here on the scoop and put all your business out here and Firestarter gone and do your thing. That's not how that has to be. So if you have a situation that you want to get worked through, she will read your letter, get your situation on out there, and make sure that you know that this is the night that we're going to talk about your show. About your letter. Okay? So we try and keep it safe around here. If you're trying to keep, but we want to get your help. Okay? So go and holler at the Firestarter so she can hook you up. Yes.
All right. Advertise with us. All right. GlobalDriveRadio@gmail.com. We have packages for all budgets. Whether you have an event, a product, or a service, we want to help you. So you can see us at GlobalDriveRadio@gmail.com, and we will get you a package. All right. You got it.
All right. So, y'all, this next subject, this topic that we are about to get into is one that I honestly did not know was going to get as deep as it did, but I'm honestly glad that it did. And it does also align, now that we've had this conversation, the prior conversation, it's pretty good that it goes right along with tonight. So we're going to pop up this meme, and we're the scenario that I found this morning in one of the popular groups of relationships and things. And just to give some background, I saw this meme, and the thing that jumped out to me the most were the responses from a lot of the women. And this we'll probably talk about that on the back end of this, because I saw Win on the agenda. He gave us some he's trying to keep me focused tonight. So I'm gonna answer those questions first, and then we'll rabbit hole it out for the back end. But the reason why I brought this up was the comments that came after the meme. But most of all, we want to talk about when something looks really good, but it ain't quite right. Like, what do you do? And how do you really go about navigating when it's just not right for you versus what should be good for everybody? That type of thing. So yeah, go ahead and now that I've given all the background, let's go ahead and pop the scenario up.
Do you want me to read this whole thing?
Not this one.
No, wrong one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. I think I accidentally deleted it. Hold on.
If it's gone, don't worry about it. I could probably summarize it.
Hold on. It'll take me a second to do it.
Okay. Yeah, this one got interesting on the original post and in the scoop, which was which is generally what it'll usually get crunk in one or the other, but it was pretty lit in both spaces this go around. Are you clicking? All right. Nope. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. Has your partner been upset because you don't enjoy certain positions? I don't like my legs up in the air or a pretzel of me while he leans. I don't like my legs up in the air or a pretzel of me while he leans all his weight and sweat on me. Even though I don't enjoy it, I will try to stand it for a while just to appease him. When I say it turns me off, I mean completely. Like, my body stops responding to it. I would dry up quick in that position and he would just keep on trying to drill me. Doesn't he feel that I'm dry? How is that enjoyable for anyone? I've even said to him, I'm dry. Can we stop? His response, what does that mean? He's 40 and said he started having sex at 24, was married for 10 years to one woman and with a cheater after who got pregnant with someone else's child and told him it was his. Did you get the other part of that?
Let me read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got it. All right. It says, I'm 33 and have never had any issues in the bedroom. I've never become dry with my ex. And if I become exhausted, we've just stopped, no issues. With this guy, if I'm exhausted after coming once or twice, what's really the issue? He will come and keep going. He had even lied and said he didn't come when he did. Who does that? When I asked him to stop after we had both already come, he'll be inside me still looking down saying, really? And God forbid if I fall asleep afterwards, instead of getting my energy and going for round 2, he will refuse to cuddle, turn completely to the wall, and act hard of hearing in the morning. I already had a discussion with him about me not being a robot. After working 12 hours a day, I can't come home and have sex till crazy hours into the night. But why should I have to explain this? We have just started having sex with each other. It's literally been less than a month. Anytime we have sex, it's anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and 45 minutes. And I will have to tap out or ask him to stop. There's more to life than being in bed all day. I cannot lay in bed and have sex for 2 to 3 hours at a time. After a while, I start feeling like he's using my body instead of making love to me. And he either has a smirk on his face or a serious face he calls focused. Imagine looking at your boyfriend during sex and he looks angry or demonic even. It's offsetting. Outside of the bedroom, he caters to me. He wants to do everything. He will come over and ask me to sit while he cleans my house, fold laundry, take out garbage, dust, sweep. One time I asked to stop after 45 minutes. It was damn near 1 a.m. He left my wet laundry on the floor, just like said, F the laundry. I had to rewash it and dry it correctly. He likes to bathe me and lotion my body afterwards. He offers to pay my bills all the time. He doesn't like me paying for anything, but the bedroom issue outweighs it all, and delete him simply off how he makes me feel in the bedroom. Does anyone think this can be fixed? Has anyone experienced this? All right.
That was a lot, but I think it needed to be said. Like, I think we needed to get all of those details in because they matter. Hey, Kels. Hey, girl. Who I wish you would hear this conversation.
What up, Kels? You can jump in here, Kels.
Okay. Tag in, sis. But no. Yes, I think the details matter because without them, it's easy to say, what's the problem? You know what I mean? Like, what's the problem? But without those details and the emotions attached to that, like the feeling attached to that, needed to be said to have this conversation. So the prompt that Wynn has so graciously given me to follow on this evening is he does everything great except he ignores me in bed. What should I do? So how should we know what to let go and what to hold on? Like what is it that we need to be like, nah, I'm out. I'm good. This is too much. Versus, okay, maybe this is something, maybe it's me. Maybe I need to compromise a little bit. Maybe if I feel it right, try it. You know, this is something new. How do we know the difference? Know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Is the root of this conversation. With this particular scenario, I think sis needs to go ahead and let it go. This is more to me than a sexual incompatibility. This is a manipulation, it seems as though is happening. And it feels as though there is a disregard for humanity also happening in this. The choice is being made to disregard the feelings of the other. While there's been communications been tried, like she's trying to communicate, she had been going with it, like, hey, trying it out. Maybe this is just something like, hey, okay, this is what you like. Okay, fine. You know, and even after trying for so long, she's like, or for however long, I think more than once or twice is long enough. So she's done it more than that many times, and we're still at this place. I think it's safe to say, all right, love, I'm out. And the paying of the bills and the cleaning of the house mean nil to me after all of that other was given, because it feels very, I said it to you, Wynn, it feels very quid pro quo. It doesn't feel like an act of service. This feels like, well, you know, I clean your house. Well, you know, I rubbed it down. Well, you know, I did all that stuff. I can't get a little bit. You mean to tell me you can't give me, like, keep it. Keep that. Keep your cleaning. Keep your bills. Keep all of that. Like, no. Because if I don't feel if I don't feel good with you in this place, you know, this is my most vulnerable space is here.
Yeah.
What you think, bro? Because you paused on this one. You didn't really give us thoughts on this. You kept a lot of this to yourself.
Yeah. So again, let me. So male perspective. Perspective. I read that he is doing what he thinks women want, and he is proud of it because he feels like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm supposed to be. I'm not coming fast. I'm not. You know. I'm cleaning the house. I'm paying. Like, he's checking in his. I can see a man like checking all the boxes, like all the good man boxes, all the great man. And I think I said on the post, all the no, it's the other post, all the high value man posts, all crap stuff that we're supposed to do. So she's good. Like, she's good. She's just saying that she'll get used to it. You know what I mean? Like, she'll like it because no woman is upset about having sex for 45 minutes to 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like, every woman wants to have multiple orgasms. There's 75% of the women in the world who don't have, you know what I mean? I can foresee as a man that being his thought process. You know, I'm cleaning, I'm doing, so I could literally see him doing all of this and bragging to people like, I'm a good man. These are all the things that I'm doing. And to that point, as you saw in the comments, there's a whole lot of people who think, what is he doing wrong? So it's being reinforced. Here's the problem. The problem is ultimately her definition or her safety, her feelings of when she said at some point, I no longer feel like he is making love to me, but he is using my body. Mm-hmm. That is a deeper issue than just how fast the position of her legs and pretzel in the bed. Now it's to a point where now mentally she is withdrawn, and she would rather have bad sex or no sex than to have this a problem. So
yep.
I think he's got to, obviously I think he's got to take a step back. And I wonder, again, rabbit hole counselor, thinking if this situation, because it says the person he was with previously was a cheater, if there's some form of performance issue, like some trauma, that trauma didn't cause him to think that in order to be a good man, he had to perform perfectly in every area. And so now my ability to perform well in all of these areas means I won't be cheated on again. And when he should be thinking, what does she need?
Right.
What does she
do? It all. That is the root of it all.
What does she, what is she saying, and how is she responding? And oh, by the way, she is getting dry while we're having this 2-hour sex, so something ain't right.
Yeah. That, to me, that was honestly the root of all of it. This whole thing, it was not about sexual incompatibility. If he was making her warm and fuzzy and feel like she was honestly the woman, not just the body, the vessel that he wanted, then sis would have been dripping. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe some of those comments that were being made as far as, girl, what's wrong with you? Don't they? Those would have made sense. But even us as viewers to this outside bearing my soul didn't listen to her. We even didn't hear what she was saying. I don't want this. My body does not like this. I'm trying. I've tried. My mouth has said, I don't like this. This is not what my body wants from the man who's pleasing my body. I said this and he said, well, what does that mean? It means stop. It means don't do that anymore. That's what that means. It doesn't mean go harder. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that from the outside, we reinforce that. Like, even when someone is saying that's not what I want, we in a way shame them, trying to remix what they want. So then we wonder why folks walk around wearing masks and doing dances that don't really fit them and end up in relationships that don't match, just because when we say we need help, this doesn't work, I need to figure out a way to do the girl, what's wrong with you? Every woman wants. Don't, girl, that's the dream. I wish he would pay bills and sex me down for hours. But what about what I feel like? I'm saying this is borderline. Like, I feel like a toy. He is ignoring me. Like, and we're just saying that's okay, but you getting nuts though? Like, it's okay because you getting a like,
and bills and a clean house and lotion down after. I'm with you. I'm being facetious, but I think part of the
protect women. We got to get better at how we communicate, but we then tell women, shut up, girl. He giving it.
I agree.
Shut up, girl.
I think one of the things that struck me was, why are you even asking what to do?
Exactly. But because I'll tell you why.
And because
that's why
something's wrong with her. Because culturally, we have said that it is wrong for a person to say what they want and expect somebody to get it. We have told people, men and women, that there has to be a level of compromise, and there does, but not
Yes.
this level of compromise. Is not necessarily for relationships, and so it would be better for her. And some of the comments said this. It would be better for you to feel this way or deal with your feeling or suppress your feeling than to simply just be single until you find somebody else who will.
But imagine the trauma that happens every time you have sex with the person just because, in lieu of just waiting on somebody who's gonna figure it out. Because you're
That's
afraid
what I agree. It won't. She should. I'm saying I would. There's not a question to me. Like, go, bye, leave, go and out there's a man who will respect that and not want to put you in a pretzel and make you fit and not listen to you.
Yeah,
that's perfectly okay. It's perfectly acceptable.
Society has gotten this so crazy. Like, do we have to? It's funny to me how, as young people, sex is, especially for women. I'm a young woman. I'm a woman because I can only really see it from a girl's perspective. When we're young, we are told flat out, sex is a nah until you get married, or you would, it's off limits. You are to hide everything about your sexual being from grown men, from peers, from everyone. You are told to protect yourself. Then as soon as you get of dating, marrying, do it age, then it's, girl, you better give it to him when he want it, how he want it, you better be the freak of the week, you better have all the positions, you better give it on demand, and no one ever takes into account how that programming can affect, like,
absolutely.
And then as women, we come right behind it and do the same thing. We will call her a hoe if she is with too many folks. We will do all of like, how do you win on that? How do you win? And in every other facet of our being, we give people their personal rights, their allegiance. We tell them, yes, girl, yes, you say what you want. You stand on that until it comes to her not wanting to engage in some type of sex. If it is not acceptable to the masses, then all of a sudden it's, girl. But I mean, they like that though, right? Like, but I mean, you do want a man, all right? Like, that's what they like. We as women, I was so appalled by some of those comments, because if you flipped the script, if you would have snatched them bills from the scenario, honey. Okay, you snatched them bills from the scenario and you might have hit one round instead of two, and then we would have had a totally different conversation. So I don't know, is it a lack? Is it a personal lack that creates all of this wonder, shock, and awe? Is it because we ain't had none in a while? The idea of this imaginary getting multiple times by this dude who wants to pound town us because we ain't been pound town? Is that why we like, oh girl, I wish?
No,
every girl don't wish that. I don't understand why we do that.
I think it actually has more to do with the other stuff. I think it has more to do with the fact that a good majority of ladies feel like I am doing all of the stuff that he is doing outside of the bedroom. I'm doing all of this now. And so if to get somebody to do all of that other stuff that I'm doing now, that I'm tired of doing, I don't want to do anymore, means I get to have that I get that, and my quote, I'll use the word, and my punishment is that I have to feel uncomfortable during sex, which I can get, that's not to some people, to our culture, that's not a big deal. Like, some people are willing to sacrifice that for the idea of all of my bills being paid, somebody cleaning my house all the time, somebody lotioning me down afterwards, because what it sounds like. What it sounds like, to be honest with you, is how an abused person is treated. To me, is how it sounds. Is we say, well, he treated you right afterward. He hit you, but afterwards, look at what he did.
I'm glad you said it.
That's exactly what it sounds like. It does.
It makes it so they get away with it over and over and over again. And to your point, I'm going to say, if that is how you feel individually as a woman, that I would rather sacrifice, recognize that's a personal choice. And when you put that out there for another woman who has expressed that she has done the work of being courageous enough to say, I don't want this, you are doing her a disservice to come back and say, keep that to yourself, because this is someone taking allegiance and saying, I don't want that. And we should allow them to be okay with that and just say, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Keep your personal thoughts about that to yourself, because we really don't know how damaging the influence of others can be in vulnerable situations like that. Like,
yeah,
I get these.
I just think, I'm going to go back to it again. I just think again, maybe because I'm built a little different. I just don't understand. I would never think to ask, should I stay? Like, if I'm uncomfortable, this isn't marriage. In this scenario, this is dating. If I am dating you and I feel this uncomfortable and this unheard at this point in dating, I'm out. Like, I'm not staying. You're beyond, it's beyond my level of where I'm willing to compromise. So I'm automatically walking away. So I guess, again, I go back to bring a question like this, to even doubt. And I'm not, if somebody's hearing this and this is their situation, I'm not condemning you or downing you. I'm saying I want people to have the courage, or really the self-confidence, to say, I deserve better, male or female. I deserve better than a relationship where I have to compromise my body, where I have to really compromise my peace, where I have to put myself in this position where I'm uncomfortable, where I don't like it, where I'm trying to tell somebody something that I don't like and they continuously ignore me. Leave. Like, leave. It might be difficult, but leave. Like, take your stuff and leave that situation, because whatever it is that you're giving up is not worth it. It ain't worth it. Leave. Like, ASAPly. You don't have to stay in a situation like that. There is somebody out there that will love you. And if it ain't another relationship out there, you'll be absolutely fine if you're not in a relationship. Like, it's going to be all right.
Yep.
It's going to be good. So I just want us to have enough confidence and belief in ourselves that I'm not going to let somebody pigeonhole me into a position where I feel like my responsibility is to be, I don't use the word settle, but to be in a position where they can manipulate me or control me, or that whatever it is. Again, he might not be trying, like, and on the post when you said manipulation, I was like, I don't know. I mean, it could be, but if that's even if that's not his intention to do that, in essence, that is that's where it's headed. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where it's headed. You can't good guy your way. You can't good person your way out of bad.
Yeah. Your intention can only go so far, especially after you've been made aware that your intention is not following the way that you anticipated. Like, this is not working the way that you wanted it to. So we need to adjust. I think it was the lack of wanting to take action on the fact that she communicated. It would be one thing if she had never said anything, and just was suffering in silence. That was one thing. But the fact that she communicated that and it was disregarded is what hit me, and that we glazed over it as a community. Forget that.
Yeah. I mean, again, hey, I get it, but I just don't get it. Yeah. Like, I get wanting help. I get being tired. I get being in the struggle of having to, do everything for yourself, and I get all of that. But what I don't get is,
you also speak from a male perspective, where
absolutely.
You all are expected to move when it's time to move, and that is the role that is given to you. Whereas we are exposed to trade off and deal with it and compromise and suck it up because you got. And the thought of a man being emotionally supportive and protective and providing for you is the bonus, as opposed to just a part of it. Girl, you lucky if he cares. Girl, he paid them bills, girl, and he managed to give a damn about how you feel. I wish my man did care how I felt. So we just comparing trauma. So we just I mean, because that to me, we deserve. I'm sorry. I know you're trying to get in there, but I'm really thinking like, abusers are often really great people to everyone that's not being abused by them. A lot of the women who are in these types of situations appear to have beautiful lives, and we find them in terrible situations. You know what I'm saying? So like, I get how we have to make choices in the life that we want to live, but I can also understand how a woman stays in an abusive situation. I can understand why someone who under all circumstances can appear confident and still wonder, am I wrong? Should I block them? Should I try? You know what I'm saying? Like, even the people who have it together and know can still be put in a position where they wonder, simply because that ideal is so out of the box for who you are, how you show up, that it makes it where you question yourself. So we can sit back and say, I'm saying we as people can sit back and say, you know, girl, just go. Girl, just go. I would never. You would never, because you're not in this until you're in that. You know what I'm saying? And I that's what I think gets me about these types of scenarios. It doesn't even have to be this type of extreme. You know what I mean? Just simply someone saying, I want different than what the majority wants. And now it's, you can't want that. How dare you want that? You know? And when it comes to a matter of safety like this, we can't stand on the other soapboxes that we stand on with the pride that we do when we're not willing to say, own this part of that.
Yeah. What I was going to say earlier was that I think that men are actually taught the same thing. We're taught it from a different perspective. So I think that my perspective on that is absolutely from a male perspective, but I think it's also from a male perspective who has moved beyond the place in life where I really give two craps about what other people think about what's happening. And again, I have a very healthy level of self-confidence, whereas there are a lot of men who are in similar situations where it might not be sex, but it's something else that we're asked to, to get over, look over, don't worry about. So I think we do have a situation.
We have an
issue culturally. Yeah, culturally, I think that's what I'm saying. Culturally, I think we have an issue where we don't have enough self-confidence to say, if this is not a relationship that I can serve and that is serving me, then it is okay for me to walk away from it. It's okay for me to walk away from it. As a man, I don't have to put up with whatever, with this thing. As a woman, I don't have to put up with that thing for the sake of saying I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend, but I can move on. So I think that's something we both do have, but I also recognize again that it is still different for men. Our options are more. There's several other things that that are happening in the community that makes this issue specifically different for women, and I do honor that. And I'm still gonna say, sis, it's okay to leave. Yep, it's okay to leave.
1 month in, sis, he would never hear from you again, ever.
Not mean anything. And I would to every single woman, I would say, or married woman, it's okay for you to leave. I know y'all ain't used to hearing that from the pastor. It's okay. And I'm not saying like get out of your marriage just because y'all had a bad day, but like if it's really harming you to that point, walk away. Like, walk away.
Yeah. If it's meant to be, folks get remarried every day, B. It happens all the time. If that's truly your person and y'all meant to rock it out and there's a rough patch you can get through and it was hard out here and we figured it out, nobody's gonna stop you from doing it again.
Walking away don't necessarily mean you got to file for divorce tomorrow. It could mean separation until we
set that boundary. We can get better.
Until we can set appropriate boundaries, and then we can engage. But if not, but again, to keep having in this situation, to keep having sex with this man, is really reinforcing his behavior.
It is. Yep.
And so that's why I was to her like, you got to stop, sis. Don't do it. If this is my little sister, I'd like stop. Don't do it.
I'm glad you said that too, in that perspective. If it was my little sister or my daughter, my niece, You know what I mean? Girl, I wish you would.
Listen, if it was anybody, if it was you, can't let me find out.
Yeah.
Well, where I need to back the truck up to.
Mhm. Yeah.
Let's roll. I don't know. All right, good conversation.
It is. This was a topic that I was scrolling at like 5:40 this morning, I think. Just scrolling. What? Let's get to the comment. What? Yeah. This was you were talking about when they called you out about yourself, and you were that was me reading those comments. We got to talk about this. I couldn't hit that share button fast.
Look, when you posted it, I was like, "Oh yeah, this will be on the show tonight." Yeah, because I think I said I don't even have a topic for tonight. Then I was like, "Oh, there it is."
Yeah. And what was so crazy? I know we get ready to wrap because after we started to talk about it in the scoop, I went to my personal page and did a blind scenario. It had no gender, no real details attached to it.
I saw.
And the results were vastly different than what we discussed. And the only difference was sex. That was the only real factor that was involved. I said, person 1 says, ouch, please don't do that again. That hurts. Second person, that doesn't hurt. What do you mean? Third person 1 explains it again. Nah, we good. I'm gonna keep doing it anyway. What do you say to this scenario? Everybody, I'm gonna tell person 2, hit me again. I'm gonna bust person 2 in the throat. I'm through with person 2. Nobody, not one time did they say, well, maybe try and work it out with person 2. Ask them why they continue to hurt you. See if you could try it just a little bit longer. Trade off. Did it hurt that bad? Like, nobody asked any of those questions. It was a simple, stop that. Don't deal with person 2 anymore. There's no need for person 2 to be around. It got violent towards person 2 real fast. Almost everyone took it straight to violence. Everybody chose violence for person 2. And I didn't even specify the type of pain. I just said, ouch, stop doing it. I was vague on purpose.
You were.
And here we go. You know what I mean? So I'm like, we got to have this conversation about, it's not about protection. It's not, we're willing to protect ourselves. We'll show up and protect ourselves. But it's this space, for whatever reason, we get real touchy. We start to get real debatable. Everybody's all easy breezy when it comes to say, wait, let's talk. I don't get it. I do not get it. It baffles me on a regular basis. So I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate y'all going down the rabbit hole with me. Twice time. Wynn usually hits us with the social experiments. I was on one today. I said, you know what? Let me just see. Maybe I'm tripping. It could be me.
Yeah, I'm like, let me just sit back and watch this one and see where this goes.
Yeah.
Good job. All right, close us out.
This has been a great show, y'all. I think this has been one of the most cohesive shows we've done in a while. As far as subject matter throughout.
Is this mental health awareness month? Or is that next month?
That's May. I believe May is mental health awareness month, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. One
of our good therapists, our resident therapists, tap in and get us right. Is May mental health awareness month? Where's Teresa at? Come on, Teresa. Come on and tap in and let us know. But this was a really great show this week. I'm so happy to have such a thought-provoking group of folks to bounce these thoughts of throughout the day and every Tuesday. You guys show up and show out. So thank y'all for the comment section. For our new listeners, Kendall, I don't know if you're still watching, but appreciate you, sis, for tapping in this evening. Your comments were great. To all of our new listeners, I promise I'm not missing you on purpose. It's just Kendall's my girl, so I appreciate her tapping in on this evening. So I wanted to shout her out. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, comment, do all of those things. And we will see you guys on next Tuesday. Yes, sir.
Also, I forgot to publicly announce this last week, but the winner of our book, I did tell her already, but the winner of the book, Shatoria's book that I did last week was Miss Tanisha Forrest. So I'll get her. I still ain't got the book. I got to mail it out to her this week. But she won last week's book. So I will get that to her. So she won a copy of Shatoria's book. that was released last week.
Congratulations, sis. She stepped in with us earlier too.
Yep, there it goes. Authentic Transparency is my copy. So I will get hers out. And then again, y'all, if you haven't gotten my book yet, go ahead and pre-order it. Again, it is Surviving Relationship Storms. Get that. And then last, did you have a closeout or did I just go?
No, I did. I did mine already. We just early.
Okay.
I was short for a change. Like I kept it short and sweet for a change. I know that's not like me, but yeah.
Wait,
try something new. Go with me. I'm sleepy, y'all. I told you at the beginning.
I'm good. April 30th, we're having another virtual relationship forums. If y'all missed the last one, it was so much fun. It is, again, just a night where we talk, play games, have fun. It's all online. So it's free as well. So it's April 30th at 9:00 at night. So it's for grown folks. So we had grown folks conversation at grown folks hours. What was funny, so last time somebody joined and like in there, we were I forgot what we were talking about. Sex toys. That's what it was.
How did I know you was about to say that? I knew
I was about sex toys, and then somebody like Pastor somebody jumped in, heard the comment, and jumped right back out. I was like, yeah, Pastor wasn't ready for that conversation.
Y'all needed to ease him in on that.
We all laughed. We was all cracking up laughing. Like, I guess the pastor said, nah, he had on this one. But
he did one of
them. Right. So good conversation. Like I said, it was just it's really good conversation. So I really would want y'all to come. Go to either the Scoop page or my personal my public figure page, and you can register. Again, it is free. Doesn't cost you anything. But show up and have fun with us, and submit your questions too. Because we pre-take questions and then go through the questions through the time. So other than that, I don't have anything else. Any other thoughts, questions, comments?
I think we just had a really great time tonight. Honestly, appreciate y'all. Let us know what you guys want to talk about next week. I don't think we have. Do we have a subject for next week? A few weeks ago, we had a somewhat of a roundtable situation, and that was a lot of fun. So, let us know what you guys want to chat about. Is there something going on that we may have missed that we can have some chit chats about? Bring it to the scoop.
I'm definitely okay with that. Absolutely okay with that. All right, we going to bed.
I was about to say, go hit the music, bro. Ain't nobody. That's the beauty of having it on our own. We can say we done when we do. I love y'all, but sis is tired. I started rebooting like 20 minutes ago. My brain is going, are you sure? Like
I could always tell when you get tired because don't look, your eyes be like
and blinks get a little longer. Swallowing yawns. I miss Kel's telling me I saw that, and then I saw it.
I don't know what's happening. All right, it ain't playing. Music ain't playing.
It's tired too. See, the universe.
The music is like we're going to bed too. So
I hear you, Riggs. Y'all have a good week. I'm gonna save y'all from my shenanigans for the rest of the night.
Here you go. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good day. Go to bed.
If you indigenous, you been shitted on. And if you black, you been pissed on. Speak the truth, you ain't living wrong. Same critics go, but they giving out different laws. Red line gator, maybe shit is black codes. Black folks, afros, lynched on the macros. Fast forward 50 years, damn man, we still here. Jim Crow living through Flando, but still, yeah. Playing guns in Chicago, dropping off drugs in them unmarked Tahoes. Now they sending troops just to stop, but they started acting like the savior, knowing damn where they Pablo. And no, we ain't saluting y'all motherfucking anthem. You throwing a tantrum. See you uphold your end of the ball.
Good night, y'all.
Welcome to America. Yeah. Welcome to America. Yeah. Welcome to America. Body mags, lot of cash, mass hysteria. Yeah. Welcome to America. Yeah. Welcome to America. Yeah. Yo, welcome to America. Where if you black, guaranteed they'll bury you. Started wars over coca leaves.